in basic training, well, it's not really just about, you know, shooting guns and doing push-ups and everything else. There's actually a very competitive aspect to basic training. So it's not just with each platoon itself, but the drill sergeants are competitive with each other too. So, for example, every platoon has its own flag or guidon, right? And whenever you win a competition, you end up getting a streamer you put on the guidon or flag, and as you're going on, the more you have, the better your platoon looks.
Like what kind of competitions?
Well, there'd be like rifle marksmanship or grenade throwing and just stuff like that. Anything that has to do with combat, especially since it was an infantry training at Fort Benning. And so the more streamers you would win, just the better it was a pride thing is what it was, right? Yeah. So one of the top competitions that everyone always wanted to get was a drill and ceremony streamer. And we would start every day basic training about 4 in the morning, right? And your training would start with physical training or PT, and then from there you go shower, and you go to your training for the day, and you finish up around 5:30, and then after that, your drill sergeant would usually take us behind the barracks, and we would just march for hours,
practicing
just keep practicing that, left, right, left, platoon, it was trying to get everything in sync 100%, right? And so you're trying to get a feel for the people you're next to and everything else. And it was kind of funny as we're going along, if someone just couldn't figure it out, somehow, some way, they ended up on KP duty on the day of the competition. So it was kind of funny, but
you didn't want the bad people in the competition.
No, this competition was huge.
Okay.
So on the day of the competition, it was not just so important, and we were dancing, but it was right before New Year's, right? And we were actually going to be able to have leave for a few days, which you got to understand. We've been, training every day for 8 to 9 weeks straight with no time off, except for maybe Sunday church, right? And so we were excited about that. We're like, oh my goodness, we finally get some time off, and it's New Year's, and we're a bunch of young idiots, and but we're just excited, right? We haven't had that time off, and so
you get the competition,
yep,
and then you got time off immediately after.
Yes, and so, but this competition, it was serious. I mean, because you got to understand that the hours that we would spend. I mean, it was just drilling, and then we're doing a flare with our guns and everything else, and trying to get everyone in sync. So you would just have to go and go and go, and our drill sergeant would just keep, every day just same thing, until we had it down pat. And so the day of the competition, we went up to this big field, and the people that were grading the competition were like our commander, our master, the first sergeant, sergeant major, and some high-ranking individuals. Mm-hmm. And so, you wanted to look good for them,
yep,
but also, you wanted to look good for your drill sergeants because, they, it's not just you going out there and doing it, but they're out there with you.
Yeah.
And so it's a huge pride thing is what it was. Mm-hmm. So on a day competition, we're all sitting there, and they're trying to figure out who's going to go first, second, third. So there was first platoon, second platoon, and then we were fourth platoon. Okay. So our drill sergeant comes up and talks to us, and he's like, hey, they're not going to allow us to do the flare with our guns.
But when you're talking flare with your guns, what do you mean?
So,
like the twirling of it?
Yes. And so we had a routine, and the way a platoon is set up, so there's 4 rows, and it was 10 soldiers each in each row.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so the way we had it set up, it was really cool, was with the flare and the guns, we would have the first row, we're doing this one thing, and the back 3 rows, we're doing the different thing, but same thing together.
The 3 rows are doing the same thing, but different than the front row.
Yes. And we had a cool thing we had together. And, the
do you remember any of the stuff?
Just a little bit. I mean, I should have known more about that, but it's been so long. Yeah. But I just remember how much we worked on it, right? And so Joe Sark comes to us, and he's like, they're not going to allow us to do any of the flare. And so we were just like, you got to be kidding me. We were kind of excited. Yeah. So, but then he gives us a look. He's like, well, depends on how you guys do. We still might do it anyway. And we're like, oh, okay. But we had no idea. We didn't know if we were going to do it or not. So, so first platoon had to go first, and they do the short straw. So they go out there, and they didn't work as hard as we were. Yeah, it was really truly against second platoon, fourth platoon, and I have to say, I think it was because of drill sergeants. They must have had a bet or something going on because they would talk smack all the time, and both of them wanted the streamer on their flag. So we were like, okay, this is more just than us winning competition. It's a drill sergeant's pride, online. And so many times when we were out back at the barracks, we would see them doing their training, and we'd give them like, yeah, you guys suck, we're better. So it's just kind of like that, right? And so anyway, so first platoon goes first, and they do okay, nothing crazy, but so
they weren't really in the competition.
Not really. I mean, they still looked good, but they just didn't have it.
Yeah.
So then our drill sergeant, he goes out there, and he calls us, and we're on the bleachers, so we run out there, and then we get formation, boom, 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 right? We're at we call it parade rest, is when you're standing not at attention, but your hands behind your back like this, and then he gives you the command like platoon attention, right, first, forward, whoosh, and he goes left, right, and so you're going around, and platoon halt, and then forward march, right, so you're going around while you're getting graded. So they're, they got their stuff, and they're watching. They want to see if everyone's 100% in sync. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, when we were doing it, we were in sync. I was like, oh, I feel it. We're crisp. When we're stopping, everyone just stops. No one moves, or I mean, it was you because you could see out the corner of your eyes, and you're like, wow, man, we're feeling it,
looking good.
Yeah. So he goes around, and when you get a final halt, you're right in front of the the commander and the master sergeant, all the higher ups that are grading.
Yeah.
And so our drill sergeant looks at us and gives us a smirk. He's like, gives us the command to start the flare. We're like, yes, because we wanted to do it so bad, right? We were so hoping we'd be able to do it.
Yep.
And so, boom. So what it was is the first row was doing something with their weapons. So there was 10 people. And so it started with a guy on the right. And so he'd do something, and then he'd like this and stop. And then as soon as he got there, the second guy, stop. Third guy, boom, 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 boom.
All the way through.
All the way through. Well, the back three rows was doing something. And then when the last guy hit the ground, he immediately came back and pros kind of came to attention. Then the second guy, third guy, fourth, And so when the last guy did, we
like dominoes.
Yeah. So we put our gun in, and we're all like in sync. And then and so then we were,
all finished at the same time.
Yep. It was a thing of beauty. I'm telling you. And so we were excited. We went back to the bleachers to watch the second platoon go because they're the last ones to go. And so they went, and they were great, except for one of their guys dropped their gun and hit the ground. So we knew that was like a huge no-no. We're like,
yep.
Oh boy. I said, that could be the game changer right there. That can win us. And everything else they were doing was boom.
So synced.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they looked great, except for just that one part. So then they finish up, and they go sit over there, and we're all kind of sitting on the bleachers, and they're in a huddle.
All the leaders.
Yeah, trying to figure out who won. And our senior drill sergeant, so every platoon has 3 or 4 drill sergeants, right? And so he comes over there, and he didn't do any of the training with us.
Yeah.
I was a different drill sergeant Pointer was his name anyway. So he comes in there, and he's like, well, they docked you a few points for the flare you guys did, but you looked good. And we're like, yes. So the leaders are all in the huddle, and they're discussing, and the first sergeant turns around, and he's like this. Gives us a 4, right? And we're like, and it was kind of not right next to you. So
yeah. So
we're like, wait, did he say 4? Did we win? We're like, I think we won. We're kind of getting excited. And he goes, 4th platoon, you won. We're like, yeah. We're just jumping up and hugging each other. We're like, no way. We're so excited. It was the greatest feeling of accomplishment, knowing how hard you work, and you trained and trained and trained, And it was a sense of accomplishment, but also knowing that you won for your drill sergeant, because you build a relationship with your drill sergeant, even if it's a love hate. You hate them because they're making you do all the stuff you don't want to do, but you love them because you know that they're there for you. Yeah. So I remember our drill sergeant looked at the other drill sergeant number 2, because at a point, like, you owe me. So I know they probably had a bet between each other.
Yep.
It never came out, but I'm telling you, there was a thing going on. And so I knew that he was just really proud. You could see in his face how excited he was. But it was also excitement because he knew that we worked really hard for this. Mm-hmm. And so when we finished, we were going on leave, and it was just, you were riding high. And that's one thing I always loved about basic training is you go day in and day out, and you come to realize, you build confidence, because you know that no matter what's thrown at you, you can overcome it. Mm-hmm. And to win something like this, and I still remember all this, and putting the flag down and having the commander tie the ribbon on there, and just like, oh, and truthfully, everyone else was jealous. All the other,
oh yeah,
but it was the greatest feeling you ever feel. And that's just one thing that the military does, is it just installs the confidence in you that you can overcome any obstacle, anything that gets you in your way. And that was just a small example of, how hard you work and the rewards you get for hard work, dude. So it was awesome.
Wow, what a cool story. I don't think I've ever heard that.
No.
I remember being in 9th grade when you were in basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia. I remember hearing some of the crazy stuff, talking to you over the phone, but I never really knew some of the competition that you had between battalions.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of fun to hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you again for your service. It means an awful lot. And for those of you that have veterans in your life, please make sure and thank them. For our clients that have served our country, know that Brian and I are honored to serve you.